It's it's July 19th, 2022. I'm thinking of my discoveries on my walks just outside. I've made several videos of my footpath where the sidewalk looks very sooty or dark and black. Like, and again, I don't know where it comes from. Um, There's some patches that are worse than others, but it's been happening a lot more lately. Um, I don't know what that's from. I mean, I don't know, again, how does one find out if there's like a burn pit somewhere or there's something coming this way? Um, then, um, I mean, again, it's a large metropolitan city. So, and I know not everybody follows the rules. So, or the health guidelines with the garbage and whatever they do. Um, and that ties into like global pollution. So, but again, I'm more versed on anatomy, physiology, and the microbiological that for my matriculated credits that I've taken than I am with the more human interference with ecological health. So I'm watching the meteorologist today, and on Channel 7, he has this array of looks starting from global or starting from world view, and then he goes in closer. But at one point, he shows a picture of this vapor cloud, but the vapor is represented by this black cloud almost. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't have a legend that aligns with what he's showing or what his computer was having trouble getting through in preparation. But I'm watching this black, brown, and then white, wispy cloud system move through. And I'm like, I mean, I've heard of something called acid rain. I have no idea what it really means. I mean, they didn't teach it in school, they didn't talk about it. I've heard it in a hole between time and space. I don't even remember where or how I know it or how I got imprinted. Almost like, I don't know, don't like small chickens, they get imprinted with their parental whatever. Um, Something along those lines. Go with that for the moment. Inhuman way of speaking about hard to explain topics. So I'm watching him and I'm like, do black, I mean, like I've heard them reference black clouds before in passing, like in music, like, or in philosophical, like, oh, looks like you got a black cloud over your head, kind of a thing, like as if it's bad luck or whatever. And now I'm like, is that a real thing? I mean, like, I hate to sound like a ditz, but it's like there's no real intelligence around here to like bounce, is it real or not? So I'm like, that would explain whatever causes it, I have no idea. But that would explain why the sidewalk in the local area is, if it's some form of acid rain or some form of ash cloud from somewhere else and it's falling into this area onto the pavement and turning the pavement this like ashy, sooty, dirty. And somebody sent, by the way, a maintenance crew to the Verizon building. They took up some concrete. They put down a couple of patches of brand new concrete in that like silver diamond color, not the sandy cement color, but like the diamond, like real powder color cement. They put patches of that against the other color cement, so now nothing matches. But in large area science projects, it actually is a really good gauge for how quickly is the ash going, how quickly does it turn dark. They also, whoever is in charge of maintenance of the building or the city or whatever, sent a crew today who was out there in the heat. They were with water machines, and they were actually doing like a thorough clean of this one patch by the Verizon building. So it wasn't of like the actual sidewalks in the village, but it was attached somehow to Verizon, being the Telefonica or telephone company that's around here right now. So that was noteworthy. So at least I have a date on it. Today's July 19th, 2022, for accuracy on how it evolves and changes with what's falling from the sky and what's just street, whatever. So I found, as a life scientist, as a scientist, I found it incredibly interesting. I mean, again, as like neat and tidy and like perfect lines and symmetry and architecture goes, it would drive somebody else absolutely batty to have to walk by it every day. But I'm just keeping it in my mind that it's some kind of like form of control in an uncontrolled situation as a gauge almost, and then it doesn't bother me quite as much as it would if I was in a better situation. So this happened today on the Channel 7 news.
We're putting out all the warnings, but I gotta say, today was not bad. You know, in terms of the Dave Navarro scale, I like it hot, so I'm a little different from a lot of people.
The Navarro real feel is very important that we measure this, no doubt about it. No, listen, it's never day one, and especially today when, you know, the humidity is just a little bit lower. And we'll have another day like this, I think Friday will be a lot like this where the humidity drops, but it'll be that cumulative effect day after day of the heat. I just wanted to address the weather in the UK, okay? So if we look right here, you know, if you just draw a line westward in terms of latitude, that's just north of any U.S. city. So to get this type of temperature readings that far north is pretty incredible. Thankfully, we're going to be talking about a front that's going to be coming in there.
Now, I could go back and I could try to pause it, but there was like a flash of something that looked like a volcano. But there's no talks of it. I have no idea if that is part of this black cloud, because again, there's no mention of it. There's no mention, no speaking, no talking, no anything of it. And I don't know what island it's on, what volcano it represents. I don't know if that's putting ash in the atmosphere. I don't know if that's what causes whatever.
And bringing some relief as we go through the next few.
And this is it. So it says it's on his water vapor scale. So it's on water vapor scale. But it looks, I mean, are there several volcanoes erupting around the world at the same time? I have no idea. Like, that's a frightening thought to add to the itinerary, but they don't make any mention of it. But is this what's now falling, like blowing into the area and now falling and making the sidewalk all dirty and like really, really nasty? I mean, like, and then how does one, I mean, like, by some of the there's this one restaurant that gets this fish delivery and then it like stinks outside, but like they have people that come out from their restaurant that actually use the chemicals to clean the sidewalk, which I thought was like a really nice touch, that they're actually part of a process of keeping the village clean. But where the rest of the stuff is just getting so dirty. It's so filthy. It's really gross to walk and to see it like this. And a picture like this is really frightening. I don't know what it's called because nobody taught me anything to do with this. And I don't even know what field of study this is included in the local. I don't even have words for it.
few days. Let me just reset my computer. It seemed to have already gotten some heat stroke and it changed the sequence for a second. But basically, the idea is they're going to get some relief and get into the 80s as they get into the day tomorrow. But a pretty incredible stretch there, and we're seeing it over the globe, and of course.
This is how, I mean, they normally show it like this pretty looking, not real threatening kind of visual reference. I mean, the black, the copper, and the white wisps is a lot more, or like sepia color, is a lot more ominous and frightening than this blue, white, green, whatever.
Course here as well. In terms of our relief, well, we're looking at temperatures that are going to be working into the 90s for the next 6-7 days here. Rainfall. One of the reasons why we did not hit 90 yet is because we got all that rainfall, record rainfall yesterday, and the sunshine's working on evaporating some of that moisture. So it works on that, then it works on raising the temperature. So record rainfall for the date yesterday, just under 2 inches. That vaulted us above normal for July. We're still below normal since June 1st. So extreme heat tomorrow, and that's, of course, here to stay. In terms of storms, likely Thursday afternoon, they're just spotty, and they're likely stronger off to the north. Late week, there's a little dip in humidity. We get to catch our.
Now, that's at the 4 o'clock news portion that I was watching. David Muir's World News Tonight has a different meteorologist who actually tracked the last 50 years of heat and the changing colors of the map, where whatever blue is representing, it's morphed from blue into this really deep crimson red, showing a heat index and like how the blue is just shrinking. So in that like old saying of like shrinking violet, I mean like ay.
Now spreads across so much of this nation, from Texas all the way up into the Northeast. We're expected to last for days.
There are heat advisories, David, from Bakersfield to Boston. And yes, Oklahoma City tied their all-time July record. And so we are going to talk about the maps here, because there are heat advisories in that nucleus of the heat with the excessive heat warnings that stretches now to Memphis and western Tennessee, western Mississippi as well. The heat index tomorrow going to be scorcher again. 112 Little Rock, Jackson 107, 104 all the way up to Indianapolis. This bubble is going to keep moving northeast, and so is that warm overnight low, which...
So is that like the meteorologist's way of like saying it without saying it, like the nucleus, like instead of thermonuclear heat temperatures? Just curious, because I mean, like, again, they like to keep things under wraps, but I mean, the results are just not worth what they used in utility and tools to accomplish this really ridiculous whatever.
Oklahoma City could break an all-time hottest overnight low tonight. They'd have to go above 84, and it looks like they'll stay there. Look at that. That cumulative heat that Trevor was mentioning is so incredible, and now we're going to get a taste of it. Our second official heat wave in New York City has already started of the summer, and Boston will get there first, staying in the 90s.
And Ginger, while we have you, I know you and the team have been studying these summer high temperatures going back for a century in our country. I was going to ask if you could just show us just the last 50 years, what the record books show as far as summer highs recorded here in the U.S. and what you've seen, a clear trend.
Sure, David, I'll take you straight to the data. So you're looking first at the map that says 1961 to 1990. These are 30-year averages compared to the 20th century. So you see some blue on the map. Over the 50 years of this time lapse, as we take the 30-year averages up, you see a rapid rise in temperature across the entire nation. There are very few cooler spots than average at all. And what this means, and I know you're looking at me now and saying, okay, so you showed us 50 years. Our Earth is way older than this, and we've been way hotter than this. And that's true. However, those came with other signals and indicators like Earth's orbit or proximity to the sun. What we have right now, scientists say, the attribution to this rapid rise in temperatures, greenhouse gas emissions. It's us, David.
Which is why it's really important we report on it both here in the U.S. and across the globe, and what we're seeing in Europe as well. Ginger, thanks to you again tonight, our coverage of the heat for tonight. We're going to move on to the other news this evening, and as this country...
That is so interesting, in blame it on the greenhouse. Again, I'm not in this inside, I'm inside out at the moment. So there's no like conversation of a two-way. It's more of my one-way going, does that look right to you? And then, because this is what they're telling, and it doesn't, like, there's no... I'm just at couch potato level at the moment. Like, ay. I mean, what does it look like? I'm frightened to even speak upon. But I don't have any idea, like, where does one go to find people who know things or people who are in the know? I mean, they arrive whenever they arrive, and then they disappear when I'm not looking, I guess. I have no idea. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. What I'm most concerned about, though, is I thank Lee Goldberg for that vapor, like, image, just to bring to the forefront the possibility of it being either an ash cloud or something along those lines. Because, I mean, again, they don't even mention it on the news. They don't speak of it here. And I have no idea how far the nearest volcano is to Long Island and what might sweep in with like a clouds or whatever. I mean, again, there was a class, I don't remember the gentleman's name, in 9th grade in St. Dominic's. But it was such, when I say foreign topic, it was a vocabulary that had never been spoken about before in my previous years of schooling. There was a regents at the end of the year, so you earned regency. It was called Earth Science. But again, we didn't get to keep the textbooks. And they never spoke of the Earth ever again after that. It became biology. And then, because it covered a little bit of geology, in some of like the different minerals and stones and things, which I don't even really have the words because it was so many years ago, with no reinforcement or no updating on the vocabulary or no like continuing education kind of a thing. And I never see it spoken of in the mainstream media. So today's July 19th, 2022.